Now this here blows my mind. These phones are 10 years apart. This was released in June of 2009, the first Samsung Galaxy phone. And here we've got the Samsung Galaxy Fold with a 7.3-inch display, 2 displays, 6 cameras, and that's 10 years later. What are the next 10 years gonna look like? The thought of that just, man, I'm excited. The future is going to be quite interesting. I just got my hands on the Samsung Galaxy Fold, direct from Korea. And in this video, I'd like to go ahead and check it out and durability test it. So this is Samsung's future. The Infinity Flex display, 7.3 inches. And in general, it's just where the cell phone industry is going, I think, as a whole. Apple is working on a foldable phone from what we know. And this thing is going to be eventually the standard. So this is one of the first actual serious attempts at it. We checked out the Royole Flex Pi, and that was honestly a big piece of junk. And there it is. I like the presentation. Comes unfolded. Wow, actually a lot smaller than I thought. And there it is. Let's check out those finishes. Oh, it's a lot thinner than I thought. In person, it's, wow, like a candy bar. The display on the front looks very small. This is a 4.6-inch display, and we've got 3 cameras on the rear. So it's pretty hefty, way better design than the Royole Flex Pi. And that's the only foldable phone that I've interacted with so far. Okay, so turning it on, it's actually an incredibly narrow display on the front. I really can't see that being very useful. The crease is quite visible here. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of annoying in day-to-day content viewing. There's a plastic border going around. And in this video, I'd like to go ahead and durability test it, see just how durable it is. So on the exterior, it doesn't seem like it's actual glass. Like, this seems like plastic. Corning is working on Gorilla Glass for foldable smartphones, but until that happens, you know, we're stuck with this plasticky material. And frankly, it does not feel that great, but it's not that bad. Huge notch up here. But wow, for a first generation product, I think they did really well. Before we get into the durability stuff, I wanted to give my opinion on this as an actual phone, and I'm very surprised that I actually like it. Like, I could see myself using this. Obviously, the Android is a barrier, but the hardware is fantastically good. Yes, it's limited. The display on the front really sucks. I do not like this. I think it's way too small. But one thing I really do appreciate is the seamless transition in applications between the front and inner display. And I love videos too. When watching content here, you have such a big display for it. That's amazing. And I can only imagine games too. The front display needs a lot of work. It's a joke at this point, but the inner display is really, really nice. I appreciate that. It's not glass, it's a plastic material. The notch gets in the way a little bit, but coming from an iPhone, you get used to it. Geekbench 5 score revealed this. Compared to the Apple A13, multi-core is about 2/3 as capable, and single core, half the speed there. It's using the latest Snapdragon 855. That's what you get in all the regions. And it's capable. I mean, it's everything you could possibly need in a smartphone. Obviously, it's ridiculously expensive for what you're getting, but it's just the concept of being part of the future. And I really like it. It's a lot more solid than I thought. They have a really cool mechanism on the inside. So all things considered, it could be way worse. I think Samsung did a great job first gen. Let's go test out the durability in day-to-day life. If you manage to drop this thing, and Samsung actually went and released a durability video letting you know not to press too hard, to take care so dust doesn't get inside. I can only imagine what would happen to this thing with some shocks. So let's test out the durability of this phone. And I'm gonna actually drop them a little bit lower this time because I have no faith in it surviving. From what I can feel, it appears it's plastic on the front and back. And obviously this is a plastic polymer display, which you probably should not drop while it's open, but we'll see what happens regardless. The phone itself is a little heavy, mostly in part due to its 2 batteries. The mechanism in here is quite complex. I'm a little afraid of this thing getting broken too. It's just such a fragile phone, and Samsung definitely knows that. By far, the most expensive drop test I'll have ever done on this channel. So watch and either enjoy or languish. Here we go. 3, actually, let's do knee height here. So a little bit lower. 3, 2, 1. So the iPhones actually jump outwards. This thing just absorbs the impact, and both displays are still okay. Next up, dropping it on Samsung's very complex hinge. Here we go. Knee height in 3, 2, 1. Oh, opened the mechanism right away. Still okay, and still okay. So now you have triple the surface areas that could potentially break on a smartphone like this. I wonder what kind of cases we'll see in the future for it. On the display, front display, in 3, 2, 1. Ooh, smack. But did survive. So that did well. Now let's go on the rear real quick. 1, 2, 3. It's okay. And finally, the inner flexible display, which does have a ridge going around it. So potentially, actually a very good design feature that will protect it. In 3, 2, 1. Yeah, you can definitely feel that plastic is hitting. But okay, survived. Survived the entire round of, what was that, about a 1.5 foot drop. Now let's go to waist height. So in 3, 2, 1. Oh, see, that's what I mean. This thing loves spinning. The iPhones don't do that when they're dropped. Still okay. And still okay. On the hinge, waist height in 3, 2, 1. Loves to unfold. Surprisingly handling a pretty decent amount of abuse. Still okay. And now the inner display. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Actually very absorbent. The way it falls, you can tell that the plastic is getting hit first. So take note, Apple, when you're designing yours, definitely put a layer around the inner part, which is all scuffed now, but the screen is okay. Very surprised. And last one on the rear before we go to head height. I honestly expected it to break at the knee height. The fact that it's still surviving is quite amazing. Samsung did a pretty good job here. In 3, 2, 1. Nice spin. And cool. All good. All good here. In a way, it's actually a really good idea to put plastic on a phone like this. More shock absorbent. And actually, I just noticed that the back plastic seems to be delaminating here. On the front, still nothing wrong with it. But hey, it's still working. Still got a functional Samsung Galaxy Fold. The hinge is feeling a bit strange, actually. There's some resistance that wasn't there before, but still works. Okay, this is the one I've been waiting for. Head height in 3, 2, 1. Whew. Yeah, wow, that's actually quite an impact. Still working on the front. Still okay on the inside. Amazing. And on this side now, head height in 3, 2, 1. Whew. Not the way I expected it to fall, but somehow still holding on. Okay, cool. So this isn't Gorilla Glass, but still very, very resistant to drops. Face down on the front display, head height. In 3, 2, 1. Whew. Those are some vicious sounds, and yet still not broken. No, it's okay. That scared me for a second. Still good. Okay, let's just go all the way and drop it on its face. Head height. 3, 2, 1. It's okay. So that plastic ridge running alongside it really does wonders here. Still responding to touch, no cracks. And curious, since this isn't glass, how would it break? The front still working too. Last one on the side. And after this, let's test the cameras, because after all that shock, who knows if they'll even be working. In 3, 2, 1. Loves to unfold. Yeah, so the mechanism for the unfold is starting to feel a little janky, a little loose, but it still works. Regular is working, telephoto is working, ultra wide is working, and the other camera, both of them are working. Impressive. So that only leaves the 10-foot drop now. I don't think this was meant to take shocks this well, but somehow it does. Let's take it higher. I'm going to 10 feet now because it refuses to die. Dropping in 3, 2, 1. Okay, that has to be a knockout. It's taken way too much abuse and continues to work. Oh yeah, there it is. So that one did it. The hinge is buckled inwards here. Oh yeah, the display is done. The front one still works. Hey, but that's the advantage of having two displays is even if the inner one breaks, you still have a secondary display. So this buckled inwards and it damaged the display from down here, from what I understand. And if they were just to reinforce that a little bit more, it could survive 10-foot drops easily. It's just there's no material and it bent inwards right there. Still, I'm very surprised. It had no right lasting this long. It's still working in the background, the touch layer at least. Actually, I'm able to make the display work for a little while. Ooh, look at that. It's back almost. So if I tinker with the center over here, somehow the display is still functioning in this weird state. Cool. But there it is, that's the future, and I can't wait until Apple releases theirs because I really, really enjoyed this product before I broke it. I think it's amazing and a precursor of what's to come 5 years down the road.